Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here today. It's still morning, isn't it? Yeah, all right. Welcome to JA World Huizenga Center at Lillian S. Wells Pavilion. This is a mouthful, Laurie. Our priority is to keep everyone safe and healthy. We're following the highest level of CDC guidelines today. We ask that you please keep your face masks on and please continue to social distance at 6 feet. My name's Tim Rubin. I'm the Director of Client Services at Kaufman Rosalind, which is an accounting firm based in South Florida, and also the Chair for Junior Achievement of South Florida. Thrilled to be here today to announce the launch of books, bucks, and backpacks. A lot of mouthfuls today. As you can see, we have many prominent public servants here and corporate leaders to support this initiative. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce a woman that needs no introduction. If you know her, you understand her passion for inspiring the youth of the community. The President and CEO of Junior Achievement, Laurie Sallarulo. Laurie, thank you.
I'm not sure if that's a good thing that I need no introduction or not, but we'll say it is. So thank you so much for being here today. This is really a fun and exciting, but also such a meaningful day for us. So just for those who don't know what JA's core missions are, there are three main pillars that we work within, and that is financial literacy, career workforce readiness, and entrepreneurship, teaching over 50,000 students a year those skill sets and that education. And so, of course, working with all of our partners, which I'll mention in a moment. And, you know, I always like to say that we are preparing and inspiring tomorrow's consumers, taxpayers, voters, employees, business owners, and job creators. This is about local economics. This is not just about one thing, like education. We're helping to break the cycle of poverty by empowering young people from an early age to own their own financial security. We are hearing this more and more today, right? If we don't begin to train them to have financial freedom, we will continue to face the challenges that we face today, not only as a local community, but as a nation. We are helping them to achieve financial freedom, but not just for some. This program, these programs are about reaching all of our young people. And through a partnership with Broward County Public Schools, we are so fortunate to be able to reach every single 5th and 8th grader. But that's not enough for us. We want to continue to do more. We know that financial security among our residents threatens the future of their families and our community and our local economic prosperity. The ability to earn and accumulate assets determines whether a family can leave poverty. Without assets, families will not be able to cope with all the financial emergencies that they will face, much like we're facing today. They will not be able to save for their children's futures or invest in their own futures so that they can live their life out in dignity and prosperity. Building the financial security of our residents creates strong, stable neighborhoods. We know that better, don't we, President Haile from Broward College? But we must start early and we must work together. This has to be an integrated approach. That's why partners like Broward County Public Schools, the county, community-based organizations, Broward Sheriff's Office, Broward College, and so many more, we all need to come together and bring our strengths and our resources to the table. And what JA brings to the table are curriculums that are nationally prepared in core standards, lined with core standards, and so we know that they are proven excellent resources that we can bring to our children and to our educational system. Today, though, is about an initiative that we started when our schools shut down and when our communities went into a holding pattern. Today is the launch of JA's Books, Backs, and Backpacks. You're right, it is a mouthful. Books, Bucks, and Backpacks initiative. We wanted to find a way to continue, of course, to do our digital and our virtual learning through the schools on Canvas. We stepped up immediately and we were there for the schools, and we're so proud of the partnership that we have. But we wanted to go a step further. We wanted to get this education into our households. We know that when children bring this work home and these activities home, that they engage with their parents. And so this was a way for us to reach the entire family. And so today with this campaign, it is not just about backpacks, and I will show you our lovely backpacks. This is great, but that's not what this is about. It's the financial literacy It's the reading literacy, and it's the healthcare literacy information that we are bringing to these communities. So we partnered with places like Publix and our supporters from Publix and Chick-fil-A to make sure that our families got some sort of food and food assistance. Our curriculums, not only for our children, age appropriate, says each backpack is prepared for that child for their specific age. Reading, through our Grow Up Great partnership and through our early learning and CSC partnerships. Thank you so much for donating the books. And our healthcare partners, Broward Health, Memorial Healthcare Systems, and Community Cares, making sure, because we know that healthcare literacy is also connected to financial literacy. This initiative is another way for JA to help to close the financial literacy divide. It's another way to develop broad economic inclusion, mobility, and ultimately financial security for all. It's another way to ensure that we address one of the core roots of poverty and do our part to help children and families understand even just the very basics of financial literacy to help them get ahead and to help them get prepared. This initiative is about bringing this into the homes, but that's not enough, right? We know that we have to do more, and we'll continue to do more. There will be more distributions into more households. Our goal is to hit 5,000 children, and these are going to some of our lowest income zip codes, all of our lowest income zip codes. So as we partnered with all of these to help young people and their families understand how overcoming financial barriers can also lead to health and well-being, can lead to all kinds of opportunities for them and their families. Thank you to all of our partners. We could not have done this alone. Companies like Delta, American Express, Community Care Partners, the hospital districts, so many more, the Hudson Family Foundation. This is a collaboration, public and private. And so we are thrilled to bring our private donors and foundations and individuals to the table to support it. And we thank all of our public partners as well for coming to the table. And so thank you for being here today. You can count on us being committed to continuing to help to bring prosperity to all of our families. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Laurie. Junior Achievement has always been about empowering youth with financial literacy, and I think that everybody's been affected by financial literacy and whether it's looking at cash flows or budgets or income streams. So, it's more important now than ever to really support that. I'd like to introduce our first guest. Please allow me to introduce Broward College's President Greg Haile. President Haile is a career public servant, community leader, and accomplished educator. He has received dozens of awards for his influence and commitment to the community. Please give a warm welcome for President Haile. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction. Thank you, Laurie, for your incredible leadership in this initiative. For those who may be either listening from the far or in the room who don't know it, I've known Laurie for, 15 or so years now, and without question, she has been, for as long as I've known her, someone who cares about making a difference in the lives of others. And in this role, she has certainly exemplified how when someone wants to make a difference, this is how you do it. You think about those who need it most, and you do everything you can to address those who need it most to make a difference in their lives. A lot of you know about the work that we've been doing at Broward College relating to Broward Up and making sure that we are going into the communities that need us most. It's one of the things that Laurie and I have talked about quite a bit and have engaged in quite a bit, and I think about this work around financial literacy and going into the communities that need us most. We think about the financial calamity that we're currently existing in, and we think about who's been affected by that. The Federal Reserve released some data just a few weeks ago indicating that 40% of those who make $40,000 or less have lost their jobs in this country. That info is actually still probably a little bit dated because it's a few weeks ago, but think about that, 40% of those who make $40,000 or less. Many of those 40% were also hit the hardest back in 2008 and 2009. Many of them had barely recovered, if they had at all. And when we think about why financial literacy is so important, it's about being prepared for the worst. It's about being prepared for the challenges. And that preparation doesn't start when you're 20 or 30 or 40, or it shouldn't. It should start when you're young, when you're a child. It should be a part of your traditional learning experience. And when it doesn't exist as a traditional learning opportunity because maybe, unfortunately, your parents aren't thinking about it, wasn't something that I grew up with, you have to find organizations like JA. You have to find leaders like Laurie who recognize the need and are willing to fill that void. She talks about collective action. It's not just Laurie, it's all of you. It's the role that you play, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Sheriff, our school board leaders, those who care about our community and know that together we can make a difference where it's needed most. It is an absolute privilege to be here. It is a privilege to be in this community. It is a privilege to know that when we see challenge, we address it. We come together collectively, whether it be through donorship, our respective organizations, or we simply roll up our sleeves to get it done ourselves. So I am grateful to be here. I am grateful to be a partner of yours in JA, and I am grateful to be a partner of all of you. And if I or the college can ever be of service, do not ever hesitate to give me a call. It is my privilege. Thank you very much, Laurie.
Thank you, President Haile. I always find you very inspiring. I've had the opportunity to listen to you several times speak, and it's always a motivating moment, so thank you very much for those words. I now have the honor to introduce the first Jamaican-American mayor of Broward County, Mayor Dale Holness. Mayor Holness is a well-known advocate for small business, minority and women-owned businesses, and a huge supporter of economic development opportunities for all. In addition to being a public servant, Mayor Holness has also had a successful career as a licensed real estate and mortgage broker. Please help me welcome Mayor Holness.
Thank you very much, Mayor Sallarulo, for your work, for the work of all the people who support junior achievement. It is really critical, it is crucial that we teach our young people financial, career, and entrepreneurial education. It certainly will help build a stronger community and a greater nation. We know that the children of today will be the leaders of tomorrow, and how we guide and direct them is critical to our future. Because when we are older, we want to make sure that we have young people who are productive and live into the fullest of their life to be able to ensure that some of us collect some Social Security checks, right? At least that. Now, the county supports junior achievement over the years in a pretty strong way, in a robust way. We have budgeted annually $300,000 and another $200,000 over the past few years that is not budgeted that we bring in to support junior achievement. I'm particularly pleased and happy to see that you're reaching into those 6 zip codes that have the highest poverty, highest unemployment in Broward County. And even in these times, as we see the protests from inequities and injustice that happen in our nation, we have to be particular about ensuring that people who have been left behind and left out, locked out, and sometimes locked up, are given the tools to be able to fully provide for themselves and to be as productive as they can to help us build a stronger nation. When we do that, all of us, whether you're black or white or whatever your background is, will benefit from it. Because as we build a stronger nation, as we build a more productive people, we are going to see everyone benefit from the prosperity that's created. So Prosperity Broward is a program that I'm grateful to see in place. And Laurie mentioned, it's your words, Mayor. It's something that I've been pushing for a long time. From my early days getting into business for myself, to look to see how we can end those disparities that exist, especially when it comes to finances. We see COVID-19 rampant, but we see communities of color more dramatically and more drastically impacted. And a great part of that, I believe, is a lack of financial resources within those communities. If those communities can't buy insurance, they're not going to be able to find the resources to go to the doctor when they need to go to the doctor, so they'll put that off. If those communities don't have disposable income, then a lot of medical facilities not going to locate within those communities. So that is a cycle that we must work to break, and I'm grateful that Junior Achievement is leading the way to ensure that our young people understand entrepreneurship. I believe that the greatness of our country and our system is that we have an entrepreneurial system. Because when you look at the fact that people will dedicate themselves up to 24 hours a day to produce and be productive to create prosperity for themselves and their family, it helps to drive our economy, and it helps to drive innovation and creativity to build us to be more competitive with the rest of the world. I know that there's a lot of good people here this morning, and I want to thank all of you for being out here to support this effort as we continue to realize that we're all in this together. We're one community, one nation, and the more we work together, the better off we're all going to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Holness. That was well said. I would now like to welcome Broward County School Board member Robin Bartleman. Mrs. Bartleman represents countywide at-large seat 9. She's going to share some insight on the partnership with JA to provide engaging digital and virtual curriculum to educate youth. Welcome, Ms. Bartleman.
Good afternoon, everybody. I think I'm the shortest one here. There we go. I'm really happy to be here today, and the first thing I want to do is thank JA World for their partnership with the Broward County Public School System. I have always been a supporter of JA World. As a matter of fact, both my daughters participated in 5th and 8th grade, and I was a chaperone multiple years here, and I got to see this program in action. So it's an amazing program. Financial literacy is an incredibly important skill that our students need to learn to be productive citizens, and JA World provides that. We've always had a curriculum in school for our students to participate in. And when we recently had to close our schools and our children were quarantined, JA World stepped up to the plate and they provided a virtual curriculum for our students to participate in. This school board has always been about educating the whole child, and financial literacy is part of that whole child. And so we, from the bottom of our hearts, we were literally flying the plane while we were building it with the virtual instruction. You stepped up, had the resources, and we had those resources in our children's homes. And whatever decision is made in the future, we know that you're going to be a partner, and we're going to continue to educate that whole child and give them everything they need. And our community is in a crisis right now. We don't know what's happening with the schools. Families are losing their jobs. They don't know where to get food. I've been able to work the food lines in Pembroke Pines for many weeks now. I've never seen anything like this. And the fact that so many community partners came together today, that they're going to give over 5,000 families books. Many of our students don't have books in their homes. That's very important for their education. All the studies show that. They're going to give them a financial literacy curriculum. They're going to give them access to health care. And then they're also going to give them Publix gift cards, because we know kids are going to bed hungry right now. It just shows how strong Broward County is. And that in the face of a crisis, in the face of COVID-19, and I want to thank the mayor for his leadership as well, that we can all stand together and do what's right for our families. So I want to thank you as a mother and as a school board member from the bottom of my heart for stepping up to the plate and taking care of our children, because learning never ends. We're going to continue to give our kids everything we can, and we want it to be a well-rounded curriculum that prepares them actually for the new world, because the world is a different place now. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Mrs. Bartleman. Please allow me to introduce our next guest from Broward County School Board, Dr. Rosalind Osgood. Dr. Osgood is going to expand on the importance of financial literacy and closing the gaps that Mayor Holness mentioned. Dr. Osgood?
Hello, I'm Dr. Rosalind Osgood, Vice Chair of the Broward County School Board. And it is an honor to be here today as we find ourselves very challenged living in the midst of COVID-19 in a political climate that we've never seen before. Thank you, Laurie, for your leadership and what you do at JA World. This gives us a picture of what community looks like. When we have organizations that bring together our educational institutions, our law enforcement, our county government, our for-profit, our nonprofit, and we focus on helping our kids prepare for today and tomorrow. JA World has been a strong partner with the Broward County School Board in teaching financial literacy, and we're grateful for that. I would be remiss if I didn't brag a little bit. I have JA World in Lauderhill 6 through 12, where we have a high-performing high school with 100% graduation since we launched that high school, 100% college enrollment, average GPA of graduating seniors just around 4.38, just around 4.38. And JA World works very good with us in that school. When we think about financial literacy, it teaches our students to manage money, but it also has a greater value because it allows us to integrate math and English as we are creating marketing plans. It integrates those things together in a marketing plan, and our students get to do real live simulations where they create projects of businesses and they present those projects before a panel. I actually have 5 of my students at Lauderhill 6 through 12 through this initiative that are actually operating their own business in the real world right now as a result of participating in this program. So it is very important, and for that school where our free and reduced lunch is around 93–94%, it really gives our students there exposure and access to training and learning that then prepares them to move beyond their economic situation. So we are so excited about the work you're doing. We're happy for the partnership. I'm trying to find a larger high school in District 5 so I can get that JA Academy in District 5 because I love working with JA. And as a community, we have to continue to support organizations like this. And you were a major part of helping us with our virtual learning. And as we move back to school and COVID continues, we'll probably see more e-learning and virtual learning. And you know, everybody's asking us this question, so as I take my seat, I'll just address it. We're probably not gonna open schools 100% as business as usual because we teach and we believe in science and we think that COVID is real and we don't want to get more individuals infected and sick with the virus. So we're working on some very strategic models that would allow some options and provide for safety and prioritize the safety of our students and our staff first. And thank you to Mayor Holness. I must take this opportunity to thank you. This has been a very difficult time to lead. And you have been stellar in leading different initiatives and standing strong and making sure that this county understands equity. For people of color like us, this is a very different experience. For people that we serve and represent who are already struggling, it's taken the struggle to a whole nother level. And it's so important as leaders, we represent the entire county, but we have to do it in an equitable way, meaning that we put more dollars and more resources in the areas that we need them. President Hill is doing a lot of creative things at Broward College to help students that are disadvantaged students get into the college and stay into the college. A lot of times we get them in, but we don't have the funding to keep them in. I could talk about programs that the sheriff is doing, how it's so important for African American students, especially males, to see, you know, African American men in major leadership roles. And as we continue to deal with the tough times in life, it's us working together in an honest way where we practice equity by strengthening the parts of our community that need our help the most. God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Osgood. Your story about kids starting businesses is my why for why I became part of Junior Achievement. And sometimes when we're focusing on leadership, we don't get to see those outcomes. So thank you for sharing that. That's very inspirational for me personally. I'd now like to introduce our last public servant for today's speaking, Sheriff Gregory Toney. Sheriff Toney is a dynamic, progressive leader. Under Sheriff Toney's leadership, accountability, diversity, school safety, youth programs have been some of his top priorities. Today, Sheriff Toney is going to share how BSO has partnered with JA to accomplish some of his goals. Welcome, Sheriff Toney. Thank you.
Tim, Laurie, thank you very much for the invitation here today, and congratulations on launching another great initiative that's going to have a positive impact on our community. I will say one thing, I don't know who strategically set this up for me to follow behind Dr. Osgood, and we'll have a conversation about that later, because she's one of my favorite speakers. I heard her speak this morning, and she's always passionate and spot on in terms of the impact that we all have as leaders and what we can do, not as an individual, what we can do as a collective group. It's been an exciting time for me. Over the last 19 months, I've had an opportunity to lead up one of the largest public safety organizations here in the state of Florida, including law enforcement, fire rescue services, our Department of Detention, and it's been an educational experience for me because I had learned very early on the power of this office and the impact that we could have. With over 5,500 employees spreading across 1,300 square miles and operating on almost $1 billion budget, thank you, Mayor, we have an obligation to be more than just a law enforcement organization. We have an obligation to be more than just a public safety organization. We have to be able to take the resources that are embedded into this organization, primarily with the focal point of protecting the community, and understand that protection is not limited to making arrests, it's not limited to carrying guns, it's not limited to being the top line training organization and preparedness for active shooter, but there's a protection aspect that can be applied through simply educating people. Education has been the guiding principle in which has led me out of the inner cities of Philadelphia to be here as the first African American sheriff in 105 years. It has been a great equalizer through my entire life. And so the programs that the Junior Achievement has established in partnerships with the Broward Sheriff's Office will continue to see our support. We'll continue to have our men and women rally behind the important work that you are doing. But we can't even limit that in terms of what more things we can do. And so over the last 19 plus months, I have been challenging our organization as to what can we develop so that we can continue to support your goals and objectives. It's not just a matter of continuing to help fund the things that you cover here in Junior Achievement, but to also give you more manpower, indirectly, give you more manpower through the resources that we have. In this past year, we started something called our Broward Sheriff's Office Youth Mentoring Program, where the idea behind it is to continue to expand on several different pillars that are important for our young people to be able to develop and build up in terms of skill trait that's going to give them an opportunity. Of course, you've already talked about and have excelled in financial literacy. We understand the importance there. That was one of our pillars. But if you listen to the outline of what the structure is currently, one pillar is education, life skills, financial literacy, community service, government and civic responsibility, health and wellness, and career development. Now you hear those pillars and nowhere do you hear law enforcement. But yet if we can build up our community, our youth, and make them strong in these areas, I'm quite certain I'm going to be swearing some good people in someday because they went through this program. I'm quite certain that the partnerships that we have will not necessarily reduce a burden on you, but will make you stronger in the efforts that you already are doing for this community. We can no longer be an organization where our focal point falls down to two simple items. Simply, it's protect and serve. That has always been a law enforcement public safety mantra across this country. But we do more serve than we do protect on a daily basis. And service has taken on a multitude of different approaches, especially during this crisis. Over the last 90 days, we've had to be very creative about what we can do to help this community. Robin spoke, and we've been out together, distributing food to households, predominantly households of color, black and brown people, who are suffering from the inequalities and equitable shares or lack of equitable shares and resources here in this community, which is consistent across this country. And we created our neighborhood support teams led up by Major Kevin Granville, who's here today, who's done an exceptional job at this. And we switched the hats, went into full service mode, and helped issue out over 16 million pounds of food in this community. That takes burden off our residents and families who have to make difficult decisions as to should they pay the utilities or send their kids to a support program that's educating them on financial literacy, that's building them up, making those tough decisions. We're mitigating some of those. We also had to be challenged about what can we do with some of our law enforcement trust funds beyond the tradition. Junior Achievement is a recipient of the trust funds that we have here. But with so many households suffering and not being able to eat, we had to shift and issue out $100,000 to pay for 750,000 meals in this community. That's another burden taken off someone's plate to where now they can focus on those skills and those things that are essential to be successful, not just as a citizen here in Broward County, but as a person on this earth. To give them the things that was so fundamental for me. Education, I'll go right back to it. There's nothing more powerful than that. Through education, we have breached racism. Through education, we have breached through poverty, and I can go on and on and on. I want to make another pledge and commitment. Laurie, you and I have talked all the time on sidebar conversations, but we will be creative in this organization. We will not spend $1 billion of the taxpayers' money on an annual basis and not convert millions of dollars back into uplifting this community and keeping people out of jail and putting them into colleges and giving them the educational opportunities that benefit this whole society. So I'm honored to be here. I'm so proud of the work that you all are continuing to do, and understand that this agency will always be behind you in figuring out ways to further support your initiatives. So thank you for having me here today.
Thank you, Sheriff Tony. When I think about you and your team, I certainly do think about your character value of serving, and between the early mornings and the late nights, I see you all over the county, the community, and I appreciate all that you do for us. Our final guest this morning is a community partner who is committed to improving the health and wellness of those they serve. I'm thrilled to introduce the CEO and President of Community Care Plans, Jessica Lerner. Mrs. Lerner is going to share with us some value of the community partnership and the importance of our programs, books, bucks, and backpacks. Mrs. Lerner.
So I'll challenge you on being the shortest at the podium. I think I win. You do. Thank you all. My name is Jessica Lerner. I am honored to be here today. I will tell you that I too have known Laurie for a couple of years, quite a number of years. I first caught this excitement for JA when I was actually a mentor for the JA Fellows program at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas like 4 or 5 years ago. And I was amazed to see 16, 15, 17-year-olds starting their own company. They decided who was going to have what position. They were given funding. We created a product. I didn't have anything to do with it. They created a product. They sold that product. They went to nationals. It was the most exciting thing to see young people learn how to be entrepreneurs, because it was so key, and they had never done it before, and we were just there to watch and give them guidance. It was incredible. From that point, the question was, how else could I get involved with JA? Fast forward to now being that I serve, and I'm honored to serve as the President and CEO of Community Care Plan, which is the only health plan in Broward County owned by our 2 largest safety net hospitals, Broward Health and Memorial Healthcare System. And many people don't know that. We've been around for a long time, but we are a different kind of place. We do not have shareholders that we serve. We are not publicly traded. We are community-based. We are owned by them, and the only people we report to are our community. They are the stakeholders we care about. Today, we're serving over 55,000 children through our Medicaid program and through our Florida Healthy Kids program. And many of the families that you spoke about today who now find themselves without a job and maybe without health care coverage, we are seeing them coming into our plan. And it's new and it's challenging, and we're doing onboarding phone calls as quickly as we can to let them know. And we need to figure out that financial literacy is so important, but if you also don't have healthcare literacy and you're not sure about how to get healthcare coverage or how to stay healthy and what the preventative services are, that's a problem. So we want to augment and partner with JA, which is why we've taken this opportunity to do that, to help those families in need, let them know that there's quality, affordable healthcare right in their backyard, that they can find either through Florida Healthy Kids program, which is incredible for ages 5 to 18, the same children who used to walk through these doors and now might be learning virtually. The Community Care Plan is here to support them. We're so honored for this point to have that opportunity to do that. I'm so glad. I know it's unfortunate why we're doing this right now, but healthcare is so important. So thank you, Laurie, and thank you to everyone here in the community for allowing us, Community Care Plan, to be part of this now collective to help. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Lerner. We now have some time for a couple questions, but before we do that, I just want to say thank you to all of you. You've all been so gracious today in thanking Laurie and the support that you've shown. What we do here in this building and in the community doesn't happen without the support from partners like you. And not only the support, but the leadership and the guidance, and you know, having you here is really what drives it. And of course, if I didn't thank the volunteers that show up every day to help out in supporting this organization. I've been a part of this organization for 10 years now, and it is a true passion of mine to see what we've done and see the diversity and the talent and leadership that's in this room. And thank you all for what you do for us. So I'd like to call Laurie back up if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. I think also I just want to make sure that we thank our team, because distributions of financial literacy in this education doesn't happen. I thank you all for your wonderful, kind comments about me, but I am one person in this cog, okay? This is a team here at JA, an amazing team, and I don't make anything happen by myself. So I appreciate that, but I cannot take any of the credit. It is truly our team who makes this happen. So I can't thank you all enough. Is there anything that anybody from, I know we have we have Neighbors for Neighbors and Channel 4, and so if there's anything, otherwise I want to just say thank you. We must, as you all said, you spoke to our hearts, right? We must teach our children to be financially prepared. We must teach them to be prepared to hold the jobs we need them to hold. We must teach them to be prepared to open businesses, create jobs, right? And to practice innovation and creation. I can tell you this, you all were standing here giving me kudos. I can tell you that I literally, and Tim knows this, I said I'm gonna be on my soapbox, working with every single one of you. I don't feel like you're just JA's partners. I truly call each one of you my friend, because you don't do work like this without becoming friends with the people that you're working with, right? And I've known some of you for many, many years. And I just want you to know that myself, Junior Achievement, our team, we are committed to this. We're gonna be doing more. We may not be in our schools, but we will open this building if we have to provide childcare and education so that we can make sure every kid who does, I know, I get the goosebumps. This building will not sit empty this year if it's up to us. We will provide a place for students who need to be somewhere safe. We will provide this building to make sure that we come together. We'll go out and fundraise as much as we can to provide the resources to do that. I know we'll need some of you as well, but we are committed. This place is amazing. It is a learning center. Let's use it. It may not be specific to junior achievement education, but they will be doing junior achievement education, right? Virtually, digitally, and we'll bring it here as well. But this is about making sure our children are safe and they're cared for over the next year. So you can count on us, our school district, our county, BSO, you can count on us. We will be here this year, and if you need us, this building will be open, and my staff will put themselves in harm's way to be here for our children. So thank you for all that you do, and just know that we care about all of you and about our community. So thank you.